The sun hung low in the sky, painting the small town of Solace Creek in hues of amber and gold. The old stone bridge that spanned the creek was the heart of the town, connecting two halves of a world steeped in tradition and whispered tales. For as long as anyone could remember, it had been a place where love stories began and Semetimis ended. It was on this bridge that Eleanor first saw Lucas. She was 18, spirited and curious, with a love for sketching the world around her. That day, she had brought her sketchbook to the bridge, hoping to capture the reflections of the weeping willows in the creek below. As she sat cross-legged on the cool stone, pencil in hand, she heard the soft strum of a guitar. The melody was haunting and beautiful, weaving through the rustling leaves and the distant chirping of birds. Eleanor turned to find Lucas leaning against the railing. He was a few years older, with dark curls falling into his eyes and a smile that seemed to carry secrets. His guitar case lay open at his feet, a few coins scattered inside. He was a drifter, a musician who had come to Solace Creek with little more than his instrument and a restless heart. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world seemed to pause. Lucas had never planned to stay in Solace Creek. It was just another stop on his journey, a quiet town where he could play his music and earn enough for his next destination. But Eleanor changed everything. They began meeting on the bridge every afternoon. She would bring her sketchbook, and he would bring his guitar. Together, they would sit for hours, sharing stories, dreams, and the kind of laughter that echoed across the water. Lucas would play melodies that tugged at Eleanor's heart, and she would sketch him, her pencil capturing the way his fingers danced across the strings, or how the sunlight kissed his face. Their love was intoxicating, but it wasn't without its challenges. Eleanor's family was well-to-do, deeply rooted in the traditions of Solace Creek. Her father, a stern man with an unyielding sense of propriety, had plans for Eleanor to marry Edward, the son of a wealthy merchant. Lucas, with his nomadic lifestyle and uncertain future, was everything her father despised. Eleanor, her father warned one evening, "You're young and naive. Love isn't enough. You need stability, respectability. This boy can offer you none of that." But Eleanor's heart was already lost to Lucas. Their love became a secret, concealed in stolen moments on the bridge and whispered promises under the moonlight. Lucas spoke of taking Eleanor away, of a life where they could be free from the suffocating expectations of her family and the town. He dreamed of cities they would explore together, of music and art, of a life filled with passion and freedom. One evening, as they sat on the bridge watching the sun dip below the horizon, Lucas took Eleanor's hand. "Come with me," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. "Tomorrow, we'll leave this town and never look back." Eleanor hesitated, her heart torn. She wanted to say yes, to leap into the unknown with him. But the thought of leaving her family, her home, and the life she had always known paralyzed her. "I need time," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Lucas nodded, though disappointment flickered across his face. "I'll wait for you," he said softly. "But not forever." Eleanor clung to those dreams, but doubt gnawed at the edges of her happiness. She loved Lucas deeply, but the weight of her family's disapproval and the uncertainty of their future began to haunt her. The next morning, Eleanor woke to find her world unraveling. Her father had discovered her secret meetings with Lucas. Furious, he forbade her from leaving the house, posting Edward outside her room to ensure she couldn't sneak away. Lucas waited on the bridge, his guitar slung over his shoulder, his heart pounding with anticipation. The hours passed, and as the sun dipped low, he realized she wasn't coming. Devastated, he left Solace Creek, believing she had chosen her family over him. When Eleanor finally broke free, Lucas was gone. She ran to the bridge, her chest heaving with sobs as she called his name into the empty twilight. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but there was no sign of Lucas. Eleanor's heart shattered with each passing day. Time moved forward, dragging Eleanor with it. Her father's health began to decline, and the weight of responsibility fell heavily on her shoulders. She never married Edward, though her father tried to push her toward it. Instead, she buried herself in her art, her sketches capturing the memories of a love she couldn't forget. Lucas, meanwhile, wandered from town to town, his music filled with longing and heartbreak. He tried to move on, but no matter where he went, memories of Eleanor clung to him like a shadow. He wrote songs about her, his melodies a tribute to the love they had shared and lost. 10 years later, fate brought Lucas back to Solace Creek. He had returned to the bridge, drawn by a pull he couldn't explain. The town had changed, yet the bridge remained the same, its stones worn but sturdy, a testament to the passage of time. Eleanor was there, her sketchbook in hand. When she saw Lucas, her heart stopped. He was older, his face lined with the struggles of a life on the road, but his eyes were the same, deep and full of emotion. "Lucas," she whispered, her voice trembling. He turned, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The years of separation melted away as they embraced, their tears falling like the rain that began to drizzle around them. "I thought I lost you," Eleanor said, her voice breaking. "I thought you didn't want me," Lucas replied, his own pain evident. They spent hours on the bridge, catching up on the years they had missed. For a brief moment, it felt like they could pick up where they had left off. But life is rarely so kind. Lucas had been diagnosed with a rare illness that had left him weak and uncertain of his future. He had returned to Solace Creek knowing his time was limited, hoping to find closure. Eleanor was devastated. She vowed to stay by his side, to make up for the time they had lost. They spent every day together, revisiting old memories and creating new ones. Lucas played his guitar for her, and Eleanor sketched him, capturing the beauty of their fleeting moments. As Lucas's health declined, their time together became more precious. On a chilly autumn morning, as the leaves fell like golden tears around them, Lucas passed away in Eleanor's arms on the bridge where their love story had begun. Eleanor painting Lucas, a close-up of her brush capturing his likeness, her tears mixing with the paint. Eleanor was heartbroken, but she channeled her grief into her art. She created a series of paintings and sketches inspired by Lucas, capturing their love and the pain of losing him. The collection became famous, drawing people from all over to Solace Creek to see the work of a woman who had loved so deeply. The art gallery exhibit, a wide shot of people admiring Eleanor's work, her story told through the vivid paintings. Visitors at the bridge, couples placing flowers on the railing, honoring the love story that made the bridge famous. Eleanor walking across the bridge alone, a soft, bittersweet moment as she pauses to look at the creek, Lucas's melody echoing faintly. Final shot of the bridge at sunset, a golden glow bathes the stone bridge, now a timeless symbol of love and loss, with the sound of a guitar fading into the wind,